And could we have staff back up the front to continue our conversation about the Cemeteries bylaw and the Cemeteries handbook? A very grave matter indeed. I know. No, well, nobody thought it was funny. Yeah, it is. Right, now I've got Glenn, you were in the middle of questioning.
Oh, right,
back to it.
Yes, I was over whether the FDANZ measure could perhaps be a better one in 1A rather than a qualification. And what I was getting at, I can see the intention of 1A, but there's no kind of recourse after that. So you qualify, but there's no follow-up. So the FDANZ, for instance, has a code of conduct. Now, I know you've said a sexton actually does the work. Totally get that. But then why do we, if they do, why do we still need someone who's a funeral director to have some kind of qualification? If we do, my personal preference is for the FDANZ. So,
the important, I think, that last piece that's in brackets, whether equivalent qualification is held, will be at the discretion of the cemeteries team. But I sort of think that, like I said, I've never had a disinterment come through. They all come through the bigger funeral directors, so we don't have any problems. And like I said, there's only one or two that we probably would be a little bit dubious about having a disinterment. I know there's no follow-up, but at the end of the day, when there is a disinterment, it's managed by the sexton and the health officer from the department of from the Canterbury District Health Board. So,
and the more prominent, if I may, funeral directors in Christchurch are on the FDANZ list, but no, it doesn't cover all of them, and so there's no filter, as you've said. You know, sometimes you do get one or two that are not up to scratch, so there's no filter there.
No, we really don't ever have some of the couple that I'm talking about do disinterments. They literally pretty much all come through the major three or four funeral directors in town, and we don't have any problems with.
No, you won't with the big ones.
No. With
the others, there are some. Yeah.
Yeah. So we just take some direction from the sextons, because, as I said, they manage the disinterment, and if they had any sort of red flags, they would probably talk to us about that. So it would be on a case-by-case basis as to whether we would allow them to carry out the disinterment. Okay,
so thank you. So if you have that case-by-case.
Yes. Yeah. I've got Aaron, Yanni and Vicky.
I just had a couple of, well, hopefully quick questions. One was around the green burial. I know there hasn't been many, but there's a big uptake, I think, in eco burials, not green burials, and there's a difference. And are people potentially confusing the two?
There's only one type available in the city at the moment, and that is green burials at Diamond Harbour Cemetery. So green burials, as we are defining them at the moment, or which are provided at Diamond Harbour Cemetery, are no embalming with a plant or tree on top, and some other specific rules about no metallic objects, that sort of thing. So the difference is the green burials are not as far down the eco-burial spectrum as natural burials. Natural burials could be, for example, recreating a native forest, and potentially where the plots are less defined. So there are one or two subtle differences, but future plans will allow greater flexibility in the type of natural or eco burial available.
Okay, and then the other one is around future cemeteries. I thought on the council's property register we owned a massive block of land out Madison's roadway that is scheduled for cemetery. Now it's not on a map as a cemetery yet, and it hasn't gone that far, but that's enough land, I think, to bury the entire city in graves it's very large. Can you comment on that? It's out so Templeton. So it's and for green burials going forward would be a good spot because it'll be quite high there. Would you like to comment on that particular?
Yes, the intention is to develop a cemetery on that land, which would cater for the whole city going forward for the foreseeable future. We're not at the stage yet where we have confirmed what can take place there exactly. At the stage we're still planning, and some investigations of the soil and with iwi are still necessary, but that is the intention, yes.
Yanni?
Yeah, thank you. There was some really good work done in 2013 on a cemeteries master plan, but I note this is the bylaw in the handbook. There's no sort of reference to that. Can you just help me understand which committee that master plan reports to, and how often or when is it likely to be reviewed or updated? What's the process for that?
That would be the Regulatory Performance Committee. The master plan is a long-term plan, so we wouldn't normally look at reviewing that within the space of 10 years. In terms of updates, it's certainly a good idea to update the council or the committee, or the council via the committee, and that's something we're looking at doing with regards to item 3 there. Also, there are other matters coming up which the committee will have reports with respect to cemeteries in the near future.
I presume what happened last time is we did the bylaw, the handbook, and the master plan at the same time. Obviously we've just done the bylaw because the bylaw has to be reviewed every 5 years. So it does seem a bit of a gap. But could we specify in the resolution then that the committee that it will go to, and when a report will come? And I guess what I was really interested in was, as someone who was involved with the original Cemeteries Master Plan, and I think Councillor Kewen was as well, and staff did a huge amount of really good work on that, and a lot of detail, is that we're able to get that report in time to inform our draft annual plan, because a number of those things can't happen if there's no funding, and it would be really good to have some sense of where the priorities are that staff are seeing and the hearings panel, and then how we align our budget to that, so that we don't get into this frustration that's been expressed today.
So is that request that staff report back to council, that's item 3, back to council, back and change that to the Regulatory Performance Committee?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of don't know if that's the right committee, but...
Well, we've just heard from staff.
Yeah.
You asked the question, asked and answered, so if anyone's got a better idea...
No, it's cool. I mean, yeah, I think the key thing is that a committee looks at it, it comes back to council with some recommendations.
It's not regulatory, isn't it? Regulatory performance?
Yeah.
The end.
Because interesting enough, at the Heritage hearing the other day, yesterday, we heard also concerns around cemeteries. So there's kind of a number of different things happening around cemeteries. So getting that report back, I think, would be really good.
Yep. Vicky.
Aaron asked some of mine, but just in relation to the green burial area that you're looking at putting in Yalehurst, how many spaces are you looking at creating?
Thanks. 140.
Thank you very much, Dan.
Andrew?
Thank you. And when will Yalehurst be available for green burials?
The last conversation I had with the project manager was the earliest would be March 2019.
March 2019. And I just wanted to clarify the answer to my previous question, because what I'm reading in the report and what I heard as the answer seem to be two different things. So paragraph 3 in the report, request staff report back to council, or to the committee as it now is, regarding cemeteries capacity issues in the near future in the wider Christchurch area, including the possibility of development of the top area of Diamond Harbour Memorial Gardens Cemetery. But what I think I heard in response to my question is that the capacity reporting on Diamond Harbour, particularly around the green burials area, wouldn't be taking place until the green burials area had a proven capacity issue. which seems to conflict with what's in the report.
Well, I think there is already a proven capacity issue for it, but I'm suggesting that we monitor the take-up so that, because it's very hard to predict the take-up given interest in Diamond Harbour by people from outside the area as well. But I would suggest that staff report back to the council via whichever committee under point 3 as soon as possible, so possibly as soon as February.
As soon as February, and will that report include reporting on capacity issues of green burials in Diamond Harbour?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you.
So is that all the questions? Sorry, have we got, did we get a mover and seconder? Sorry, can we flick that up? So long ago, I can't remember. Oh, sorry, you haven't. Sorry, I thought you said we had. Okay, Mike will move it and seconded by Tim. I'll put that motion. All those.
I intended moving a. I intended, in the event that this isn't carried, to move a further motion referring the Diamond Harbour matter and the green burials issue back to the committee for further consideration.
You're foreshadowing a motion.
So I'm foreshadowing a further motion in the event that this is lost, and I've provided some wording on it already. I mean, it may or may not be supported, but it does allow a different pathway forward if people share the same view that I do about the green burials issue.
So, okay, but so I'm going. It's not an amendment to the motion.
It's realising that if this is lost, this is the motion that I.
This is still left hanging, is what you're saying. It's still left hanging if the motion's lost.
If the motion that's been moved and seconded already passes, then we never get to considering this. But people know that I'm going to move this in the event that the original motion is lost.
Right.
So I'm indicating that I'll vote against the motion as put, with the intention of moving this if it's lost.
Okay.
Can I ask for clarity? Is part of the original motion that relates to this that you would want to put separately then, or you're going to vote against the whole?
Well, we can't only send a part of it back to the committee for reconsideration.
That's right. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll open it up for discussion. I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no.
No.
Do you want to put up your hands for no? Andrew, Pauline, Phil and Glenn. That's carried.